Panchatantra, a very familiar name, and for many of you, possibly this could be one of your childhood favorites. Many of us know the stories in Panchatantra, but very few of us know the story of Panchatantra. This is our very small attempt to bring forward this gem of fictional stories filled with morals, ethics, and values, and most importantly, practical wisdom that originated in ancient India. First things first, let's understand the word Panchatantra. It's two words, Pancha, which means five, and Tantra can be loosely translated as tactics. So Panchatantra is a set of 5 tactics that teach practical wisdom to fare through different phases of life. And in this short video, let us understand a bit about Panchatantra. In the next couple of minutes, let us understand the history of Panchatantra, where it originated, how it got propagated across the world. The second is the content of Panchatantra, what is actually written in Panchatantra. And the third, and most importantly, how is Panchatantra relevant for our day-to-day lives today? Starting with the first, the history of Panchatantra. Like most of ancient Indian scriptures, which cannot be conclusively dated to a specific period in past because of its great antiquity, Panchatantra is also not specifically datable to which year it belongs to. However, in many Indian temples that are constructed 1500 to 2000 years ago, even today we can see the Panchatantra stories carved on the walls of these temples. So that explains how old Panchatantra is. It's somewhere around 2000 to 2500 years old. The originals of Panchatantra manuscripts are now lost, and only the manuscripts which were written in past 300 to 500 years, bits and pieces are surviving today. Here is one such ancient parchment preserved in the Philadelphia Museum of Art. For those who have read Panchatantra, if you remember, this is the story of the talkative tortoise and the 2 cranes. And on the right, it is a carving on the wall of a temple in Nalanda, which was constructed 1600 years ago, depicting the same story from Panchatantra. Panchatantra is one of the widely translated literary works of India into many other languages, and we'll see that in a bit. But here, as you see, the manuscripts of Panchatantra, which is written in Arabic and Latin, which are written approximately 1100 to 1300 years ago, these manuscripts, they do exist today, still. If we look back into the history of last 1500 to 2000 years, Panchatantra was very valued by people from West Asia and Europe for its incredibly subtle and simple yet very deep way of teaching practical wisdom through short stories, where every story has a moral at the end of it which helps us to deal with the different situations in life. If we turn the pages of history back 1500 to 2000 years, how Panchatantra traveled across the world, this is how it looks like. Written first in Sanskritam in India back in 500 BC, like I said again, this is a conservative date, not a concrete one. First, it was translated into Pahlavi, a Persian language, in 500 CE, and then into Arabic in Saudi Arabia in 750 CE, and then into Ancient Greek of Greece in approximately 1080 CE, and then to Old Spanish in Spain in 1250 CE, and then to Old English in UK in 1570 CE, and into Latin in 1580 CE, French 1720, German 1870, like this the list goes on. Besides the title Panchatantra, it is very popularly known in West Asia as Kalila va Dimna and in Europe as the Fables of Bidpai. Bidpai is actually the name of Vidyapati, which got distorted as Bidpai, and we'll see what it is. But these are the 2 names with which it is very popular in West Asia and Europe respectively. It is translated into approximately 50 languages across the world, 50 languages, 200 versions of Panchatantra exist that got translated from one country to another. But why? What is the reason for such propagation of a literary work? There must be some deep value in it, otherwise people will not translate into these many languages, right? Let's see what it is. Let us try to briefly understand the content of Panchatantra, what is written in it, and why is it so popular. Once upon a time in ancient India, there lived a king with the name Sudarshana, and he has 3 sons. Unfortunately, these 3 sons are not so very intelligent, in fact dull-headed. So in order to teach them the necessary knowledge in a way they understand, King Sudarshana requests a guru in his kingdom with the name Vishnu Sharma. Vishnu Sharma agrees to teach these 3 princes the knowledge that is rightly needed to fare through their lives, both as individuals and also as the future rulers of the country. Vishnu Sharma incorporates a very interesting way of teaching these 3 dull-headed princes. He teaches the wisdom through multiple stories, wherein the characters of the story are surrealistic, like animals, birds, fish, different living things talking to each other, and how they interacted in different phases of their lives, and eventually deriving a moral out of the stories that happened between various animals. These fictional stories are filled with a message at the end of every story, which is the knowledge that Vishnu Sharma intends to impart into his three students. In the teachings of Vishnu Sharma, the stories that he narrated to these three princes is nothing but the book that we are talking about, Panchatantra. So Panchatantra is 5 chapters. The first one is Mitra Bedha, second one is Mitra Labha, third one Labdha Pranasham, fourth one Kakaulikiyum, and the fifth one is Aparikshita Karakam. Let's briefly